Hi everyone, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have a fun new product to share with you from Spellbinders, and it's a trimmer. I know we all have some sort of trimmers in our craft room, but this is a special trimmer that can be used for foil. Now this is called Quick Trimmer from Spellbinders, and it's been specifically designed to help you cut your hot foil. I've been foiling a lot. I have a couple of glimmer hot foil collections with Spellbinders, so I actually have a huge shelf with all sorts of foil colors, and cutting foil has been, I'm not going to say an issue, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult. At first, when I just started out, my friend at work gave me a tip to use scissors with long blades, and I've been using these shears from FSJ, from Fun Stamper's Journey. They're available from the Spellbinders website, and they do cut foil perfectly. So let me just show you real quick. I actually do need a fairly big piece of foil. So they just slice right through it. So very, very easy. If you don't have these scissors, you can of course use scissors, other kinds of scissors with long blades. But if you don't have scissors with long blades, and if you try to cut your foil using some shorter blade scissors, for example, like these, you will have trouble cutting your foil. So Spellbinders has come up with a fun new product that's called Quick Trimmer, and it's designed to help you cut your foil. So here in the packaging, it says that it easily trims foil to size, and it really does do that. It helps you have less foil waste, because if you cut your foil to size, you're not really wasting any foil. And then there's also a blade for paper that you can use to trim your sentiment strips, or just strips of paper if you want to. Let's flip this to the back. So on the back, we have a little instruction sheet that tells you exactly how to use it, how to measure the foil, how to cut it to size, and all of that. So let's open this up and try and use it. I have already opened it, and I have already used it, but I put it back into the packaging just to show you guys. So the trimmer comes with several pieces. Let me get all of this out. And I'll keep this instruction sheet on my desk as well. I actually keep the packaging as well, because I like to store my trimmer in the packaging when I'm not using it. Although that's not very often. I do foil a lot, so I use it all the time. Okay, so the trimmer comes with the following pieces. You have a cutting mat, and you can kind of see I've already used mine, and I usually just foil in gold foil, so you can see a lot of the gold foil like leftover or shine on the mat. So you have the mat, and it has the measurements in inches and also measurements in centimeters, whichever works for you. I'm used to working in inches, so that's what I use. And it is kind of double-sided, I would say. Well, maybe not. No, it is double-sided. So, but the other side obviously doesn't have the measurements, but you can still cut on the other side. So the other part of the trimmer is a specially designed ruler. And what's awesome about the ruler is that it has like little slits, like all of these vertical pieces. There's an opening there for your blade to run through and cut either foil or paper. Again, you have measurements printed on the ruler. Let's flip it to the back so you can see it a little better. So you have measurements printed on the ruler, and again, they come in inches and centimeters. Very helpful and kind of easy to use. There is a little bit of a lip to this top part. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus. So there's a little bit of a lip here, and that's so that you can easily slide your foil or your paper under the ruler and cut it easily. So the other two pieces that come in the glimmer trimmer or quick trimmer is the blade to cut foil and the blade to cut paper. And they are labeled foil and paper. They are just labeled on the one side. And then you have little pouches to store these in. So whichever one you're not using, you just pop it right in there and you can have it sitting on your desk. I actually have an IKEA pegboard system with little hooks, and I just put it on a hook and it hangs on my pegboard. Easy for me to see and easy for me to grab and use. So I am going to start with the one that's foil to show you how to use it. Again, you have the instruction sheet. There's a very detailed video on the Spellbinders website, but really the foil is super easy to use. So what I'm going to do, what I'm needing right now, is I want to foil a bunch of sentiments, and my glimmer is already hot and ready. And speaking of sentiments, I'm using these 6 by 6 inches magnetic sheets from Spellbinders, from Fun Stamper's Journey. I put them onto a piece of chipboard or cardboard, and then I just lay all my skinny sentiments, like skinny strip sentiments, on here. So this little guy contains pretty much every sentiment that Spellbinders has ever made, and it's very handy to store them like this. I don't sort them individually by a product name or occasion or whatever. I just have all of the sentiments here, and I can easily read them even though they're backwards. So I can easily read them, pick whichever one I want and use them. But what I also like to do is I like to pre-foil a bunch of sentiments at once so that I can have them ready on hand when I'm making my card. So that if it's a card with lots of die cutting or stamping that doesn't involve glimmer, I can just pull the foiled sentiment from my stash without having to turn my glimmer hot foil system on, having to wait for it to get hot, and so on and so forth. So super helpful. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and foil all of these at once. I already cut my paper to size. It's a little bit longer. And what I want to do now is I want to cut my foil to size as well. So I did cut this piece of foil. Let's see if it's long enough. Oh yeah. So this is long enough, but this is a little bit too wide, and I'd rather it not be so wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it. Now, I don't want to use my scissors. I really would like this piece to have a straight edge. And that's another benefit of using the trimmer, is you can have a really nice, precise, straight edge with your foil. I'm placing my top piece of the trimmer and making sure that one of the little slits goes a little bit past the paper. I'm going to turn my trimmer a little bit just so that it's easier for me to use. I'm going to press down with my fingers, so I'm pressing firmly. I'm going to put my blade into the opening and just go ahead and make the cut. Let's see if it worked. Yep. And I have a perfectly straight piece of foil that I can use again for future projects. If I want, I can also turn this and even cut the other side so that it's nice and straight. I don't really need to do that, but just to show you guys one more time how this works, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. So just making sure that the opening goes past the paper so that I'm not cutting the paper. I'm just going to cut the foil, press it down, make sure the blade is in the opening, and then carefully and slowly make the cut. And boom, easy peasy. Okay, so I have my paper cut to size. Let's get this out of the way. Let's get my glimmer back. Because I've already had it for quite a few minutes actually, it has automatically turned off. So I'm going to turn it off here and turn it back on. This is going to reset the system and reheat the platform again so that I can go ahead and foil. There's a tip that I want to share with you while the machine's heating up. I'm going to talk a little bit more. When I foil multiple pieces, sometimes what you get like little double foiling. When you run this through your machine once, it foils perfectly. But then, because these are so small, when you run it back, or even when you accidentally press onto the paper or onto the plates and the paper has shifted a little bit, you might get a somewhat of a halo effect. So, you know, like double foiling, that's a little bit offset and that messes up the whole thing. So I'm going to show you a trick how to foil all of these at once so that they are perfect and you don't get that halo. I'm going to press the timer so that these are getting nice and hot. I'm going to put my foil, and you can see that I've sort of aligned all of my sentiments because they're just a little bit shorter than my paper, and I know I'll need to place my paper somewhere in the middle of these two grid lines. And this is actually very helpful that the Glimmer has the grid lines because that really does help you align things when you're foiling. I'm not going to put my paper just yet because that's actually one of the, I don't know, issues that causes double foiling. So I'm just going to get this out of the way a little bit, get my hot foil, not the hot foil, get my platinum machine. Okay, so I had to move things around just a little bit. Okay, so this is now ready. So I'm going to take this out, put it into my machine, and that's when I'm going to finish building my sandwich. I'm going to add my paper, okay? And I'm going to add my plates, and I'm always adding one shim just because it makes it, I get better results with a shim. I'm going to slowly send this through the die cutting machine, but I'm only going to send it through once. I'm not going to send it forward and then back, just going to send it forward. And I'm trying to make sure to catch the plates and remove them as soon as I'm able to so that they do not hit my paper again. So there, I got my plates, I'm removing them, and I can pull this back out. Nothing's touching it, so I shouldn't get the halo effect. So let's see. Yes, almost perfect. I just have a little bit overfoiling here on the U. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Yeah, and yeah, I think that looks really great. So now I have foiled a bunch of skinny strip sentiments. Let me get this out of the way so that we can continue. So I have foiled a bunch of the skinny strip sentiments from Spellbinders, and Spellbinders does have various skinny strip dies. They usually come with the sentiments to help you cut these sentiments out. But what if you don't want to use the die? You can actually use your trimmer and trim the skinny strips out, even to whichever length or width you prefer. Or just use your trimmer to trim them to 1 centimeter wide. So the openings here, the little slits, they're 1 centimeter apart. I'm not sure how many inches that is. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So, well, you do the math. I'm not really good at math. So I'm just going to place my top ruler piece on top. Let me show you how this works. So I've aligned my paper along one of the grid lines on my bottom piece, but you only need to do that if your foiling is parallel to your paper. If it's not, well, then don't align it. Then I'm going to place my top trimmer piece on top and try and align the 2 slits so that my sentiment is perfectly centered in between. Once I have that, I'm going to grab my paper knife, paper knife. Remember, we're not cutting foil, we're cutting paper, so don't use the foil one. Use the paper one, and just again, press down, make sure that the blade is in the slit, and make your cut. And then again, remove, place it into the next slit, and make your cut, and ta-da! I have my perfectly cut skinny sentiment strip. So very helpful, very handy to use. I'm very excited to use the trimmer for cutting foil. I'm not sure if I'll be using it for cutting sentiments, although it is quite helpful. But me personally, I'm most excited about being able to cut the foil. Now here's another thing that I want to show you. If you don't want to foil a bunch of sentiments at once, you can cut your foil to skinny strips. You don't have to cut it to like a big specific piece of foil to match your glimmer plate. I mean, of course you can. So sometimes when I do my hinge technique, I need the edge of the foil to be perfectly straight. And here, as you can see, I have a bit of a jagged edge because I use scissors, and well, no scissors are going to cut as perfectly as you will with a trimmer. So I'm going to use my quick trimmer. Just let me have this position here. So I'm going to use my quick trimmer to make sure that I have a perfectly straight edge on my foil. Okay. Again, remember to use the correct knife. I just switched to the foil knife. And cut. And then I can just go ahead while I have my ruler and cut a bunch of strips so that I have them ready to foil these sentiments. So, I mean, this is so easy to use, and I'm so glad the Spellbinders finally came out with it. They've been working on this trimmer for quite some time, and I knew it was coming, but I'm so excited that it's finally here and that I'm finally able to show it to you guys, because really it is a must-have. So let's see. Ta-da! Look at these. I mean, aren't they awesome? Perfect little strips for your sentiments. And if you want, you can like pre-cut a bunch, put them in a little, I don't know, jar, in a little container, and have them ready for when you're foiling, when you're doing your card. So you don't have to like pull the trimmer out, do all the cutting, put it away, whichever works for you. So, that's it. I mean, it's a very handy little tool. Here's a look at the instructions sheet. Once again, remember you can use your trimmer to cut the foil or cut the paper, and just have fun creating. I hope this video has been useful. This type of video is not the one I usually do. I usually have my voiceovers. Well, I usually do voiceovers instead of recording like this, but when I'm so excited, when I'm super excited about a product, I don't want to do a voiceover. I just want to do a video like this. So I hope you guys don't mind. I hope this has been useful. If you have questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to purchase the trimmer, again, I have a link in the video description and probably on my blog, so be sure to check that out. And once again, thanks for joining me. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.